Welcome back to PsyAI Lab. Today we're diving into a deeply unsettling phenomenon, one that genuinely affects almost all of us in this modern digital age. We are talking about the tragedy of living on autopilot. It's this quiet crisis, really, one that slowly strips away our conscious experience piece by piece. So settle in, take a deep breath, and let's get into this explainer. So think about this for a second. Have you ever reached the end of the day and realized you barely remember actually living it? It's kind of an eerie, hollow feeling, right? You woke up, you went through your morning, you checked all the boxes you were supposed to check. But then you lay your head on your pillow at night and the entire day just feels like a blur. It's like it's simply disappeared.
Well, for most of us, that daily routine is built on a massive foundation of pure distraction. You wake up and what happens? Your hand instinctively reaches for the phone. You check the exact same apps. You scroll the exact same feeds. You even have the exact same thoughts as yesterday. It's a completely mechanical existence. Sure, you're physically there, but your mind, it's entirely elsewhere, completely captured by a screen.
And this highlights a huge misunderstanding about our modern lives. We constantly confuse being busy with being absent. We tell ourselves, oh, the days blur together because I just have so much to do. But actually, the uncomfortable truth is pretty different. It's not that you were too busy, it's that you were absent. We think we're living consciously, but we're literally running entirely on autopilot without even noticing it.
Which brings us to our first core issue, the autopilot problem. Let's look at how our minds are wired to process the world. Just look at your typical morning, the phone unlock, opening social media, the completely unintended consumption of whatever random video the feed decides to hand you. You see, your brain absolutely loves efficiency. It takes these repeated behaviors and just turns them into a spectator sport, forming automatic patterns. It's the same route to work, the same emotional reactions. Evolutionarily, this is an advantage to save energy. But the downside is you stop experiencing your life deeply. And enter modern digital design, bringing us right back to that critical word, distraction. The modern world is explicitly designed to hijack your autopilot. Think about the notifications lighting up your screen, the super sophisticated algorithms predicting your next click, the infinite scroll, endless stimulation. Everything is fiercely competing for your attention, and slowly your awareness just dissolves. You are physically awake, yeah, but mentally, you're unconscious. To really grasp this, we need to dive into the psychology of automaticity. Let's see what's actually happening inside your brain.
So, psychologists use a specific term for this. It's called automaticity. Basically, it's the brain transferring control from conscious awareness to subconscious patterns, just to save mental energy. Once you repeat a behavior enough times, your brain literally says, okay, I don't need to actively think about this anymore, and hands the keys right over to the subconscious. It's a brilliantly designed system for energy conservation.
But there is a stark contrast between conscious awareness and subconscious patterns. And the absolute key element here is control. There's a massive hidden cost to letting your brain coast in this low-energy state all the time. You stop making intentional choices. Instead of deciding what actually matters to you, you just react. You're surrendering your control to the overstimulation.
And that leads us to the hidden cost. Let's unpack the ultimate price we pay for this mental efficiency.
Ask yourself if any of this sounds familiar. Forgetting why you walked into a room, scrolling a feed for literally hours and not remembering a single thing you just looked at, driving a familiar route and suddenly pulling into your driveway realizing your mind was somewhere else entirely. That is the reality of autopilot. Your body goes through the physical motions, but your consciousness has entirely left the building. As this becomes your new normal, life starts feeling unreal, kind of like a dream you're just floating through. And what happens next? You start chasing dopamine. You lose your focus entirely. When we feel that empty disconnection, we desperately chase more distractions, more scrolling, more noise, just to feel something, anything. But the emptiness doesn't go away because humans just weren't designed to live disconnected from our own awareness.
Now we have to face the uncomfortable truth. It's time to realize something profound about the digital systems we use every single day. I want you to listen to this really closely. The system benefits from your distraction. It's a hard-hitting truth, but it's real. The less conscious you are, the easier you are to influence. If you're on autopilot, simply reacting to whatever flashes on a screen, you are exactly where these platforms want you to be. But this brings us to an incredibly empowering realization. Awareness creates control. Think about it. A user who is fully in control of their attention is fundamentally dangerous to platforms designed purely to keep you consuming. Regaining your mind is literally an act of rebellion against the system built on your absence.
And honestly, this directly explains our pervasive fear of silence. Ever wonder why people panic when the noise stops? Why we lose focus and instinctively grab our phones the second we have to wait in line or sit on a train? It's because without constant stimulation, without all that noise, you are forced to finally meet yourself. And for a mind addicted to distraction, being alone with your own thoughts is terrifying.
So, escaping the cycle. How do we come back to life? Well, escaping doesn't happen by forcing motivation. And it certainly doesn't happen by downloading another productivity app. Escaping happens purely through awareness. It starts with simply noticing your patterns, observing your habits, and interrupting that autopilot. Notice how often you reach for your phone without thinking. Notice how uncomfortable silence makes you feel. The very moment you consciously observe yourself, the autopilot starts to weaken.
So, what does that look like in practice? Here are 3 super simple, minimalist things you can do to slow down. Walk outside without headphones. Eat a meal without looking at a screen. Sit in absolute silence for just 5 minutes. I promise you, it's going to feel incredibly strange at first. Your brain will literally scream for a hit of digital dopamine, but gradually, the noise fades.
And this brings us to the final step, waking up. This is where the real journey begins. Ultimately, what we are talking about here is reclaiming your attention, bringing back your focus. Because as you sit in that quiet space, and as you learn to exist without the constant digital feed, you're going to have a really profound realization. Life itself was never missing. The world was always right here, full of detail. It was only your attention that was gone.
Consider this quote for a second. The biggest tragedy in modern life is not pain, but unconscious living. Let that really sink in. You were meant to experience life, to feel it, to observe it, to actively participate in it, not just to blindly survive it while staring into a glowing piece of glass.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final provocative question. Before this day ends, ask yourself, are you truly living or are you simply repeating? Think of it as a demand for self-reflection. It is time to wake up. If this explainer made you look at your daily habits just a little bit differently, hit subscribe here at PsyAI Lab for more deep dives into psychology and modern digital behavior. Share this with a friend who might be feeling a bit disconnected lately. And hey, if you're making the commitment today to break the cycle, leave a comment below with the word awake. Thank you so much for giving us your conscious attention today. Stay present and we'll see you next time.